Hi friends! We are out in the backyard on the deck and we're going to go ahead and read chapter 6. The last thing that was happening is just that they'd set up their experiment and they were all saying goodnight to each other. Chapter 6 is called Nothing? With a question mark and exclamation point. I've got my headset in, so hopefully you can hear me without too much of the other sounds that are sometimes loud around here. Sassafras and I rushed through breakfast and out to the barn first thing the next morning. "Which pots do you think will have sprouted seeds, Sassafras?" I asked as I peeked in the ones filled with rocks, dirt, and air. Sassafras gave a few sniffs at the pots in front of him before plopping down with a worried look on his face. "None of those sprouted either, Sass?" I peeked in to double check, but the seeds all looked pretty much the same. The doorbell rang and Sassafras perked up. "It's probably Pip." We jogged over to the back barn door, and sure enough, there was our froggy friend. "Did any grow?" Pip asked hopefully. "Nope, nothing's changed," I shrugged, "but sometimes we have to wait a few days before our pea and bean seeds sprout." Pip tapped his chin. That could be, but usually magical plants grow quickly, because of the magic and all." "Really? Well, that's not good. I must be missing something or doing something wrong. But what?" I paced back and forth. Sassafras bonked into my leg. Ugh. I looked down and Sassafras had my thinking goggles in his mouth. "Ooh, great idea!" I plunked the goggles on my head. I paced some more while I waited for the thinking goggles to work. I started tapping my legs a little as I walked. I'm kind of picturing her going like this to her legs. "Of course!" I exclaimed. "The pod didn't open until I sang. Maybe the seeds need music to grow. Let's see here." And I hummed to get myself started. "Seeds, seeds, why won't you grow? This whole thing is going too slow." And the author writes the song words, the lyrics, in those italics so we know it's the singing part. And here's the picture. I started to dance a bit and bonked my arm into the bookcase. "Ouch, I just bopped my right elbow." Pip squealed. "Zoey, the seeds are doing something. Keep singing." Gee, I wish I had a banjo. Why don't you come out and say hello? 'Cause if you did, we'd all say whoa." At that, we saw some of the seeds shake a little, and the shiny black outsides began to crack. As my song promised, we all said, "Whoa!" Well, except for Sass, who said, "Meow." "Sing more, Zoey, it's working!" exclaimed Pip. I tried thinking of more words to sing, but I couldn't, so I put my head next to Pip's, and we both sang my original song again. As we sang, the seeds moved and shook a bit more. Maybe the roots were starting to grow. Whatever was going on, it was happening very gradually. What does gradually mean, my friends? Do you think gradually means quickly or kind of taking time and happening little by little? "I can't sing all day, Pip. There must be a better way to—" "Oh, of course! A radio!" I grabbed it from the cabinet, set it up by the plants, and turned on my favorite radio station. By dinner time, each of the seeds had grown a few inches. The seeds in the rocks, dirt, and potting soil pots had grown the smallest amount, and the seeds in the sand mixed with moss, and water had grown the most. I had just finished writing down the measurements in my journal when Mom called me in for dinner. And here it says data, and that's kind of showing an illustration of how she kept track in her records. You guys have done something like this in first grade. And it says stuff, meaning the stuff it's growing in, and then height. So yard dirt, 4 inches, potting soil, 4 inches, stream and water, 6 inches, sand, 5 inches, sand and moss mix, 6 inches, and rocks, 3 inches. I'm just going to leave the radio on low all night. Can you meet us again first thing tomorrow, Pip? He nodded, and we said our goodbyes. I grinned. The plants would be huge tomorrow, and the best part was it looked like they could maybe grow anywhere. Maybe we could plant them by our house. That would be so neat. I sang quietly as I shut the barn door for the night. Oh, plants, plants, good night. I'll see you in the morning light. I hope you will be quite the sight. Chapter 7 is Oh No! Following our usual routine, Sassafras and I burst into the barn right after breakfast, full of excitement. I bet they are going to be enormous, Sass! I skipped over to the table and skidded to a stop. By the way, friends, are you wondering what's going to happen? I feel a little bit nervous, like, ooh, what happened overnight? Oh no! I gasped. The pots with rocks, potting soil, and yard dirt looked completely empty. I stepped closer. Where there had been plants, there was now nothing but purple ashes? All the plants in those pots were dead. My lip quivered. My stomach tightened. We need Mom! Sassafras and I dashed back to the house. I wiped my tears so Dad wouldn't worry. He couldn't see anything magical, and I couldn't explain what was wrong without talking about a magical seed pod. Dad would be so confused. I took a few deep breaths to steady myself and then went straight to Mom's office. She took one look at me and opened her arms. Oh, honey, what's wrong? The tears started again. It's about the seeds. Pip and Sassafras and I discovered that music helped them grow last night, and they were all doing great. Right? You showed me your data, and it was all great. Did they stop growing? Worse, the plants in the 3 containers are completely dead. All that's left in the pot are purple ashes, I sobbed. Mom was confused by this too, so she came out to the barn and took a look herself. How strange. These must be very delicate magical plants. You did a great job. There was no way we could have known that they would turn to ashes like that. I would have done the same things you did. I sniffled. That did make me feel better, but still, I only had 12 plants left. If these were the last 12 of their kind, I needed to be extra super duper careful. I didn't want to be the one to make such a beautiful and rare magical plant go extinct. We can talk through the rest of your plans together and make sure we're being careful with the seeds we have left. Let's start with what you learned here. Mom scooted a ruler and my science journal over to me. I carefully measured the plants we had left and added the information to my data chart. And here it's got another, you can see there's a third column of data. Why do you think these here are just squiggly lines? So it says yard dirt, height 4 inches, and then the next time, potting soil 4 inches, stream water 6 inches, 8 inches, sand 5 inches, and then 7 inches, sand moss mix 6 inches, 18 inches, rocks 3 inches. Then I spoke as I wrote. Conclusion. Here's the picture of her writing. Conclusion. The mystery seeds grow best, and then she crossed it out and said tallest, in sand mixed with moss. They sort of grow in water and sort of in sand. They do not grow in rocks, yard dirt, or potting soil. Also, P.S., they need music or songs to grow. Perfect, said Mom. What are you planning to do next? Well, because the plants are so much taller in the sand and moss mix, I think I should move the plants in water and sand into the pots with sand and moss. And then the next thing I need to figure out is how much to water them. Mom nodded. And you have a bit of a clue there about the water. I tapped my thinking goggles. I know that the amount of water I gave them to start was maybe okay, since the plants in sand and moss are still growing. Said Mom. And one more thing. And here's those dots. Pip cleared his throat near the pot of plants and water. Oh, thanks, Pip. Having a lot of water is probably okay, since those plants are growing all right. Pip and Mom clapped, and I grinned. Mom gave my shoulders a squeeze. Sounds like you're ready for your next experiment. Chapter 8 is coming up. I'm not reading it right now, but it is called How Much Water? With a question mark. And the first word, I hope you guys don't figure out what the whole chapter is about, but the first word is the. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon.